We turn now to a set of bills that's aimed at labeling domestic terrorist groups in Florida, and that is raising questions about civil liberties and due process. The proposed legislation is House Bill 1471 and Senate Bill 1632. The measures would give Florida officials the power to designate an organization as a terrorist group. The reasons for the label include activities that are dangerous to human life, intend to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of a government by intimidation, or affect the conduct of government by mass destruction. The bills also make it possible to expel students who, quote, promote a designated foreign or domestic terror organization, end quote. One group recently labeled by Governor DeSantis as a terrorist group is the Council on American Islamic Relations, better known as CAIR, and that group spoke against the bills during the annual Muslim Day at the state capitol.
We have an administration today that can target, based on their agenda, specific groups. But tomorrow it'll be in a different administration. Tomorrow a different group of individuals may be targeted, and that's what we want to stop.
If the bills pass as is, any terrorist designation would require the approval of the state cabinet to become effective. Mike, I'd like to start with you. Is this censorship?
This is the same governor who a few years ago was very adamant that social platforms were censoring people from free speech. He was very eloquent in kind of defending free speech rights without splitting hairs. A private company has every right to say you can't say that on a private platform, which is exactly what Facebook is and Twitter. So that argument was a little muddled, and this is government censorship. Government, according to the Constitution, cannot restrict free speech and the freedom of assembly. And I do wonder how the governor and the legislature is going to navigate that issue.
Jeff, what would be the ramifications of having something like this become law?
Well, I think you're right to point out the constitutional questions that this raises, right? We do have the right to associate with who we choose to associate with. I think, you can, it doesn't go, if you think about it long enough and you say, all right, well, where does this go wrong? Right? Well, I mean, it wasn't, many years ago, pro-life groups were, going after abortion clinics. Well, what happens if the state were to turn Democrat and the pro-life groups were now to be considered domestic terrorist organizations? I think these are the things that, you don't think about the ripples of these types, ripple effects of these types of legislation until way down the road. And so, tread lightly and tread carefully.